Maharaja was a simple man. He lived a quiet life in Chennai. He owned a small barber shop. It was his livelihood, his sanctuary. His days were filled with the snip of scissors and the hum of his razor. He was known for his steady hand and gentle demeanor.
He had a wife, a beautiful woman named Gowri, and a daughter, Jyoti, the light of his life. His small family was his world. He worked tirelessly to provide for them.
His shop was nestled in a bustling corner of the city. The aroma of sandalwood shaving cream often drifted out onto the street. It drew in customers like bees to honey. He was a respected member of the community. He was known for his honesty and integrity. He never overcharged. He always offered a kind word. One fateful evening, tragedy struck. Maharaja, Gowri, and Jyoti were returning home from a temple festival. A speeding truck, its brakes screeching, careened towards them.
Maharaja pushed Jyoti towards an old discarded dustbin. It saved Jyoti's life.
The impact was devastating. Gowri was caught in the truck's path. Maharaja held her lifeless body, his heart shattering into a million pieces. The world around him blurred. The vibrant colors of the festival turned to gray. The joyous music became a mournful dirge. He was left with a gaping void in his soul.
Jyoti, bruised but alive, emerged from behind Lakshmi. The dustbin, dented and scarred, stood as a silent witness to the tragedy. It was a symbol of their loss, a reminder of Gowri's sacrifice. It was also a symbol of hope, a testament to Jyoti's survival.
Days later, Maharaja discovered Lakshmi was missing, stolen from the alleyway behind his shop. He was distraught. It wasn't just a dustbin, it was a precious memory, a symbol of Gowri's love and sacrifice. He rushed to the police station, his heart pounding with anxiety.
He stammered through his complaint. The officers, initially dismissive, struggled to understand his distress over a mere dustbin. He pleaded with them, his voice thick with emotion. He explained its significance. He described the accident. He recounted Gowri's sacrifice.
The officers, touched by his story, finally agreed to file a report. They promised to investigate, although they held little hope of recovering a stolen dustbin. Maharaja returned home, his heart heavy with despair. 14 years earlier, in 2009, Maharaja had unwittingly become entangled in a dangerous feud. Selvam, a local gangster, and his rival, Sabari, were locked in a bitter power struggle. Maharaja, a bystander, had unknowingly witnessed a crucial moment in their conflict. He had seen Selvam commit a crime.
He had been walking home late one night when he stumbled upon the scene. Selvam, in a fit of rage, had attacked Sabari. Maharaja, terrified, had fled the scene. He had never spoken of what he saw, fearing for his own safety. He had hoped to bury the memory, to erase it from his mind. Selvam, however, had not forgotten. He knew Maharaja had seen him. He had harbored a grudge ever since. He had been waiting for an opportunity to exact his revenge.
Section 5, A Web of Lies.
The robbery report was a fabrication, a carefully constructed lie meant to deceive. I hadn't gone to the police about the stolen dustbin, a trivial matter in the grand scheme of things. I had gone to report something far more sinister, something that could shake the very foundations of our community.
He had woven a tale about the dustbin to mask his true intentions, to divert attention from the real issue at hand. He was playing a dangerous game, a game of deception and intrigue.
I knew that going directly to the police about Jyoti's assault would be futile, a waste of time and effort. Selvam's influence extended deep within the police force, corrupting it from the inside out. I needed to be clever, to outsmart those who thought they were untouchable. I needed to find a way to expose Selvam without putting myself and Jyoti in further danger, a delicate balance of risk and reward.
The stolen dustbin story was his shield, his way of getting the police involved without revealing the full truth. It was his way of planting a seed of doubt, his way of getting the police to look closer without arousing suspicion.
I hoped the police would uncover some clue, some connection to Selvam, something that would bring his crimes to light. I knew it was a long shot, but it was my only hope. I was desperate, clinging to the last thread of faith that justice would prevail.
Section 6, The Unveiling of a Nightmare.
I had been assaulted. Selvam, Dana, and Nalasivam had cornered me on my way home from school. They had dragged me into a deserted alleyway. They had violated me, stolen my innocence.
She had returned home, bruised and broken, her spirit crushed.
My father had found me huddled in my room, my eyes filled with terror. I recounted the horrific ordeal, my voice trembling with fear and shame.
His blood had boiled. A rage unlike anything he had ever experienced coursed through his veins.
I vowed to avenge my daughter. I held her close, trying to soothe her pain, to mend her broken spirit. But the damage was done. The scars, both physical and emotional, would likely remain forever.
Section 7. A Father's Fury.
I discovered a crumpled receipt in Jyoti's pocket. It was from a local liquor store. I recognized the name. It was a known hangout for Selvam and his crew. It was the first piece of the puzzle, the first tangible link to her attackers.
He clutched the receipt, his knuckles white. It was a small piece of paper, but it held immense weight. It was evidence, proof of their guilt.
It was the key to unlocking my revenge. It was the fuel that ignited my burning desire for justice.
He went back to the police station, this time armed with the receipt. He still maintained the charade of the stolen dustbin.
I casually mentioned finding the receipt near where Lakshmi had been taken.
Section 8. The Barber's Justice. The police, intrigued by the receipt found at the crime scene, decided to set a trap to catch the culprits. They staked out the liquor store, waiting patiently for Selvam and his men to appear, hoping to catch them red-handed.
I couldn't wait for the slow wheels of justice to turn. The system was too slow, too lenient.
Maharaja, consumed by impatience and a burning thirst for vengeance, decided to take matters into his own hands. He couldn't stand the thought of the assailants walking free. He followed Selvam, one of the assailants, as he left the liquor store, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and determination. He cornered him in a dark alley, the same type of alley where his daughter had been assaulted, the memories flooding back with a vengeance.
You think you can just walk away after what you did? You think there are no consequences?
Selvam, drunk and arrogant, mocked him, dismissing his accusations with a sneer, his words slurred but his intent clear.
How, you think you can scare me, old man? You're nothing.
Maharaja's rage exploded, a lifetime of suppressed anger and grief boiling over in an instant. He grabbed a nearby brick and struck Selvam with all his might, each blow fueled by his pain and sorrow. He didn't stop until Selvam lay still, his life extinguished, the alley now eerily silent. He had delivered his own brand of swift and brutal justice, a justice that the system had failed to provide. Section 9. A Daughter's Secret. Maharaja confronted Selvam.
You assaulted Jyoti, admit it.
Selvam, initially defiant, denied any involvement.
I had nothing to do with it.
Maharaja pressed him, revealing his knowledge of the receipt and Selvam's death. Selvam's composure cracked. He confessed.
All right, but there's something you need to know.
But his confession revealed a devastating truth.
Jyoti is my daughter, a product of a brief affair with Gowri years ago.
Maharaja's world crumbled. The woman he loved, the daughter he cherished, both connected to his enemy. The revelation hit him like a physical blow. Jyoti, overhearing the conversation, emerged from the shadows. Section 10. The Crushing Truth. Selvam, reeling from the revelation of Selvam's death and the realization that he had assaulted his own daughter, was consumed by guilt and despair. He had lived a life of violence and crime. He had inflicted pain and suffering on countless others. Now he was facing the consequences of his actions. The weight of his sins crushed him. He had lost everything. His power, his reputation, his daughter. He had nothing left to live for. The world had turned against him. His past had caught up with him.
What have I done? How could I...
He looked at Maharaja, his eyes filled with a mixture of hatred and remorse. He couldn't bear the weight of his guilt. Section 11. Redemption and Ruin. Maharaja was left to pick up the pieces of his shattered life, a life that had once been filled with joy and hope. He had lost his wife, the love of his life, the one who had been his anchor. He discovered a devastating truth about his daughter, a truth that shattered his world even further, and in his quest for justice, he had become a killer. He had sought justice, but he had found only ruin, a ruin that echoed in every corner of his existence. He was a broken man, a shadow of his former self, adrift in a sea of grief and guilt. He looked at Jyoti, his daughter, his only remaining family, the one person he had left.
I'm so sorry, Jyoti. I failed you. I failed us both.
She was the victim of his quest for revenge, the innocent casualty of his rage and his blind pursuit of vengeance. He had failed her, failed Gowri, failed himself, and in doing so he had lost everything that mattered. He had sought redemption through violence, believing it would bring him peace, but he had found only damnation, a damnation that haunted his every waking moment. He knew he could never undo what he had done, never erase the past. He could never bring back Gowri, never erase Jyoti's pain, never mend the broken pieces of their lives, never wash the blood from his hands, the blood that marked his soul.
But I still have you, Jyoti. We still have each other. And that is all that matters now. We will find a way to heal together.
He took Jyoti's hand, a silent promise to protect her, to cherish her, to help her heal, and to find a new path forward, one step at a time.